All right, everybody, welcome back to the Indiana State Coaches Show, delivered to you by our friends at 7th and Elm Bar and Grill. We've time to start off with, of course, the head coach of the Indiana State basketball program. It's Greg Lansing, coming off 2 games. Coach, finally, 2 games, able to get out onto the floor with your team. I know the result against Purdue most recently over the weekend, a very hard-fought game, couldn't ultimately get the win, but bottom line, with you and your guys, I'm sure it's just nice to finally have game film to look at and learn from.
Yeah, it is. You know, every game's going to be a celebration this year, Luke, and awfully rusty and playing Truman State. And, you know, it's a little unfair to the guys to throw them into a game when you're not completely – yeah, they know how to play basketball, and we have had some practices, but going through what we had to go through before that, we got through it. We learned from it. And I thought our guys' focus leading into the Purdue game was outstanding. Now we still got to get in better shape. We still got to continue to improve and practice on a daily basis. But their focus and their game prep was very good, very good. We're ahead in that category. So I love the makeup of the team, our leadership, and what they're all about and how they go about their business. So it was fought our tails off against Purdue and just didn't have enough for their interior guys.
Where did you feel your team improved the most, Coach, from game 1 to game 2? You know, you kind of heard that old coaching cliche of the jump you make from week 1 to week 2 in football, from your next opportunity. For you and your staff, when you watched with the team yesterday in film, what did you like in terms of the jumps your group made?
Yeah, and I think we improved significantly and at both ends of the floor. But the biggest thing I thought was just how hard we played defensively. Now we gave up 80 points and they shot 55%, but you're throwing it inside to a guy that's putting in everything that he throws up there. But our activity, we fought catches. We had tremendous ball pressure. We really didn't give them anything in transition. So those are the things we have to build on. And leading into St. Louis, they're all about rebounding and transition. So it's something that's going to be, we'll focus on. It's going to be very important for us to try to win some of those battles.
You know, we'll get to that game in just a moment because, of course, St. Louis is going to be a tremendous challenge tomorrow. But I thought one of your assistants, Brett Carey, made a really good point to your team yesterday during your film session, and it was, look, not every possession is judged on whether the ball goes in the hoop or not. Not every possession is judged on whether you prevent somebody from getting the ball into the hoop. You know, there are little things you focus on and what you preach in those fundamentals, while also all the different things you preach to your guys in terms of things to do in certain defensive sets, offensive sets. From that regard, knowing it's early, it really seemed like your group, even though maybe it wasn't the end result you wanted, but the process in getting there it's getting there. It's not totally complete to where you want it to be, but it seems like there's a lot of positives in that regard.
Well, that's the fun. You know me, you've known me long enough, Luke, to know how much I enjoy practice and just being with the guys and watching them compete against each other. And offensively, yeah, that's what we're all about. It's just basically making the right play, making the unselfish play. And our guys do that. Our guys do that at a high level already. And on defensively, you may do a great job. Sometimes, I always say it all the time, sometimes the ball goes in. You know, you did a good job. Sometimes the ball goes in. So, yeah, we preach that to those guys. And the next play mentality, kind of a football mentality, no matter what happens on that current possession, you got to forget about it and go try to win the next one, because that team that wins the most possessions is a team that's probably going to win the ball game.
When you look back at the Purdue game, Trey, of course, had a really good first game against Truman State, got into foul trouble into the Purdue game. Anything really Trey can work on from the standpoint when you watch film yesterday of maybe not getting into some vulnerable positions where he can be put in a spot where a foul is going to be called, whether it is or not, because we saw when he's on the floor how valuable of a piece he is for your offense and defense for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, Trey's smart. I mean, he doesn't get dumb fouls very often. Now that one in the second half when he ran into the guy trying to help, which he's always doing, he's a tremendous defender and got a really good mind for it, very unselfish on the defensive end. He got tripped once and the 7'4" kid fell over him, so that was his second foul. But we trust Trey. I mean, we trust him a lot, and we need to keep developing that depth. I mean, we have to get Nongo to continue to improve and know what we're doing, and then get Nick Kittle back so Trey's not just in there. And then if he does get in foul trouble, you have to have Jake guard one of those bigger guys. We're not going to face tons of size like 6'11", 270 and 7'4", 285. Well, there's not a ton of those on the rest of our schedule, so we'll be fine. But we trust Trey, implicitly to do what he's supposed to do.
What's the biggest thing you've seen from Jake these first two games? Jake, of course, a lot of attention in the offseason, deservingly so, deserves that attention for what he did a year ago. I know he's been battling through a lot of different things, and whether it's injuries or things here in the preseason and kind of getting ready for the year, whether it's just little nagging things. But what have you seen from Jake through two games and the biggest observations?
I'm not worried about that dude at all. I mean, if you were at the Purdue game, every possession, I thought he played his tail off. Now he missed a couple easy ones, did some things that he'll improve on for sure. He's going to make threes, but I can hear Matt Painter down there going double and double it. I mean, they were worried about that guy. He's coming with the head of steam, bringing it up, playing like a point guard, and doing a lot of good things for us at both ends of the floor. So teams are going to try to take he and Tyreek away. There's no question. We can continue to get Coop to score, Randy to score, and throw the ball in there to Trey. We're going to be fine on that. But Jake's going to make the right play, and there's no one that's going to compete any harder than that guy.
We'll come up. Coop's going to be coming up on the show here in just a minute, and we talked about it after the game. The progression he has made during his time here in so many different areas. You played, you've been in that position before too. What's it like when you're a guy, when you put in the work, you're good enough, but maybe the ball just hasn't gone in your way recently, to then have a game like Coop does the other night where he made a lot of good plays. It wasn't just all catch and shoot threes. You got some guys, as Coach Painter mentioned, on a shot fake here or two, made some really good plays. It seemed like that's a game that can really do a lot for Coop in terms of his confidence moving forward. Not that he's lacked his confidence, but it just makes that confidence go even higher.
Yeah, you and I have talked about it. I'm not big on, well, he doesn't have confidence. He does have confidence. It's more belief in yourself, and the belief in yourself comes from how much work you put in on your game, on your craft. And Coop has continued to improve in that category. You're being around guys like Tyreek and Jake and Julian. Those guys will influence you to be in the gym more. But I'm just so happy for Coop because he is playing well at both ends of the floor, and he's a very good basketball player. He's a talent that other teams should have to worry about. He probably got as good a shot fake as I've seen, and he is very conscious now defensively of what he's trying to do and what the team is doing, and he does a great job of talking. So really happy with Coop, and I want him to just keep doing what he's doing and have a great year.
Coach, we talked about it on the first show. It's been something we've gone back and forth on when we're just chatting at midcourt at practice or around, that the fans are going to love Julian Larry. Not that the first two games have been perfect for Ju by any stretch of the imagination when I asked this question, but just being in Mackey, which of course was weird when there's not many fans, you can hear a lot, and Ju's talking on defense, which he normally always does, very communicative, very loud. Energy always brings to your group. I mean, the first two games, it has what you've gotten from Ju, even though the demand is, of course, to be even more. Is that exactly what you thought when you put a true freshman in your starting five?
It's going to be tough for him moving forward because I do expect so much out of him, and I'm going to forget he's a freshman and this and that when we go on and have some games where maybe he'll make a mistake that is a freshman mistake, and that'll be okay. But he's just been everything we thought he could be and more. There's no question. And after the game's over, he's sitting there. He wants Odom to show him the mistakes he made. This is right after the game. Get here to work out this morning, and there he is with Sam out there shooting. Those guys are just leaving. I mean, it's, you talk about people that are built different. Everybody can be built different because all that takes is somebody that's going to put in extra work and work on their craft as much as possible. And that guy is a special one in that regard, and just fortunate enough to have him, and great student, and I will commend all our guys on our academics, just an outstanding semester academically, and thank Michelle, our academic people and stuff, but I know that's getting a little bit off it, but yeah, he came in and he fit right in with this group. That's for sure.
Well, and keep in mind too, your guys just finished finals week, and it's, and that I don't, that's just a fact. It's a really difficult week because for obvious reasons, with school being different this year, with the pandemic going on and everything. I mean, that's a That's a lot to ask for your guys when there's so much that they have to follow in terms of protocols, in terms of rules. I mean, everyone's dealing with it too. It's not just your bunch, but that's
Yeah,
like I said, for
I'm
your
and I'm
guys to be able to
and I'm
perform too.
I'm sitting here looking at Dalton sitting on the front desk. You know, I forget the GAs, he and Nick, and all the managers. They're here. They can't have a social life. They have to be here to take care of the guys, and they're doing the same protocols as all these guys for nothing. They're here for nothing, and they're going through their finals. And you know, as a coaching staff, you have to remember that the mental aspect of it. Give them time to make sure they're set on their stuff. But yeah, it's crazy what we're dealing with, and then again, when you leave here, you can't go home for Thanksgiving, you can't go home for Christmas. So we do a lot of talking about it. We just have to take care of each other.
We're going to take a break here with Coach Lansing and then come back to close out the men's portion with the head ball coach. Cooper Neese is up next here on the 7th and Elm Bar and Grill, Indiana State Coaches Show. He's coming off a tremendous game against Purdue over the weekend. Of course, everybody here locally was able to see this guy grow up when he wasn't a guy, when he was just a boy, if he ever was a boy. That's Cooper Neese, of course, the Cloverdale, Indiana star, now an Indiana State star. Coop, one, always appreciate the time to catch up with you, buddy, even though if it's via Zoom. I know a really good game for you over the weekend. Even though it was a good game, I know you and the guys just wish you had that win to go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. That was first and foremost that we wanted was the win. You know, like I said before, you know, that Purdue and Matt Painter's always got a hard, disciplined, hard-nosed team that plays hard, and we knew we had to hit them with our best shot. And, you know, just some little mental mistakes down the stretch. They got kind of pulled away from us there. You know, just fell short, but knowing that we can build off that and only having as many practices as we had leading into that, you know, a game like that and the way we played, you know, you can only get better from there. So
take me through your progression, just overall, Coop, when you think of coming out of high school, you know, initially going to Butler, and then, of course, coming over here to Indiana State, you had to sit out, and then you had to sit out a little portion of the next season before you were able to come in and play against TCU on the road, and then, of course, the Diamond Head Classic there in Hawaii. Just through your time, where do you feel you've gotten better each year, and where you are at now in terms of your basketball game?
I think in my beginning years, you know, especially coming from, you know, Butler, you come to college as a freshman, and you know that is what it is. So you know, you learn a lot, you know, that first year, but then being able to come down here, you know, not necessarily play a game, but practice every single day. And when I say every single day, it was every single day, and being able to, you know, just learn what a program really is, learn what the coaches want you to do before you get on the court. You know, that was the first and foremost thing for me, you know, in those early years. But then actually being here, being able to play, I took a lot from Jordan Barnes, our past player. You know, even in the year I didn't play, you know, just being able to learn from him. You know, he led his team very, very well. He was a phenomenal player here. He's a great leader, great mentor to me. So you know, I took a lot from his book. You know, being able to, you know, lead, being able to, you know, put in the work and do all that, and et cetera. You know, and then come this year, if you think about it, I'm really a senior. I've been here. This will be my 4th year. But, you know, with it being my junior year on the floor, you know, I got to go out there and play like a senior. I got to be able to play, you know, above my years. And that's what I intend to do this year.
You know, the beard makes you look a little bit older too, Coop. So, you know, not just you, you've been here a little while.
Yeah, I know.
You know, you mentioned JB and some things you took away from him. What would you pinpoint as the biggest thing you took from, and why you wanted to take that from? What was the biggest thing you took away from JB's game?
You know, it kind of goes both ways for life in basketball, but the way he dealt with adversity, the way he dealt with, you know, things that was punching him in the face on a day-to-day basis. And still, you know, you'd see him at the gym at 11 o'clock at night for 2 hours shooting, or you'd see him the next morning, or you'd see him an hour and a half before practice. The things he was dealing with, you know, with himself personally, or whether it was on the court, to see him just fight through and keep going, it was kind of an eye-opener for me, because, you know, sometimes as a freshman and sophomore, you know, in a young mind, you know, adversity hits you in the mouth, and sometimes kids just sit down or back down. And you know, that was a big piece for me, was just whether it was somebody saying I couldn't do something or somebody saying that I needed to do something, I just took it for what it was, being able to just fight through it, whether it was the right thing or if they were saying the wrong thing or whatever it was. JB, he was really, he was a huge mentor in that aspect for me.
Coop, when I could read off the accolades you've been able to acquire during your prep career, and it almost seemed like, how could that person have a chip on their shoulder when you accomplished so much, but you have a massive chip on your shoulder? Describe that chip on your shoulder and why you have it.
Yeah, I mean, even since I was young to, even this day, it's not necessarily that I listen to, the critics, but I know there's disbelief, and I've heard it enough that if you don't believe in yourself, you can't make much happen. And that's probably one of the truest things, people's ever said. You hear Russell Wilson say it, you hear a lot of other high-level athletes say, something similar along that lines. And just being able to carry myself knowing that, there's people close to you that you might know that don't believe in you. And then you got your family who supports you, who believes in you, and you just got to be able to fight through it and do that too. So
I know you're a big family guy, and that's been a huge part of what you do and why you do what you do. Of course, during this pandemic, Coop, there's been so many different protocols you've had to follow. And it's been tough, close to going to Florida. We were just so close to go to Florida and then ultimately had to pull out. How have you been during this time, Coop, from a player's perspective, and how you feel mentally, not just physically, and going through what has been, I know, a challenging time? Not to say that what you're going through is more challenging than those who are actually battling the virus and have lost loved ones, but just for you specifically, how would you describe how you've been mentally during this time?
It's been tough, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's definitely been tough. I've had my fair share of, doubts and what was going to happen this season. I've had my fair share of, what I wanted to happen, this season. So it's definitely been tough. But like I said, going back to that adversity, just being able to deal with what's thrown at you, no matter what it is, we got to take it for what it is. We get to play this season. There's a lot of kids, especially on our campus that, got it taken away from them. So I've got to be extremely thankful every single day that, a program like ours, was able to, put it together and help us, be able to get on the court and play against high-level talent and go compete at a high level this year, and understand that a lot of kids out in the country aren't getting to do that this year. So
when you look towards St. Louis tomorrow, a very good team, second in the mid-major poll, I believe, averaging just north of 90 points a game. You came here, and the reason you want to play, obviously, at this level is against really good competition. You're going to get that tomorrow night. What are you most looking forward to make the trip over to St. Louis and play against the Billikens?
Absolutely. I mean, that trip over to St. Louis, you want to make it more than once a year, and you want to stay down there quite a while when we go down there. But, being able to go down this time, it's going to be a lot of fun. I think, they're a great team. They're coached well. They get up and down the floor, extremely fast. They play hard-nosed. So, we got to be able to go out there and fight as hard as we can, just to be able to compete and have a good chance to win that one too. But I really think just being able to go down there with this team, being able to develop, get better day by day is going to be the key for us, every single game we play. So.
All righty, Coop. So we're going to have some fun with you here at the end. Now, everyone, I think, knows about your Fortnite skill, your Call of Duty skill, your gaming skill. Now, your basketball skill is number one. We know that. I don't think your gaming skill could ever reach that. But I know you're really good at it. So what we're going to do is we're going to start each week now doing Sycamore Power Rankings. And we're going to go through some of your teammates, and you're going to rate them by how good they are at Call of Duty and Fortnite. Now, I know some don't play both. Some play one or the other. You have to decide. If they're really good at both, they're going to be further up in your rankings, all right? Now, if they're not any good at either, you got to put them down towards the bottom. So are you ready to go through some of your teammates and we can talk about their skill?
Yeah, I could go through a couple of them.
Okay. All right. Let's start with Cam Baekho. Where would you go with Cam on this scale within your team? Is he in that upper tier, middle tier, lower tier? Where do you put Cam?
He's in that middle tier. He don't play Call of Duty, so he's just a Fortnite guy. But I got to give him credit. Just played with him the other day, and the last time I played with him, he's gotten a lot better. So I think he's making his way to the top already. So
we're going to go numerically here through your teammates. So Trey Williams, where's he at on this list?
I'd probably put him the third. I'd put him number 3 if we're gonna go numerically. I'd put him number 3. He plays both games. He plays really well, but he don't play with me too often. You know, I might have to beat him up for that. So
He's so confident in his abilities. What's a weakness? What's his weakness in Call of Duty and Fortnite?
Oh my
Communication.
God.
Is it, what too bullish?
It's more of. And I think you'll get this one. It's more of. It feels like your ears blow up when you got the mic on because he yells so loud when he's trying to talk to you. So you can't hear any dang footsteps when people are walking by you. But that's about his weakness, I'd say.
Trey, which by the way, those who know Trey understand his life can be heard from miles away. That is for certain. Calyx. Calyx recently just picked up a gaming system. Where do you put Calyx into this mix?
Oh yeah, you got to point that out too. He just picked it up and he's already we were just playing the other day. He was like, "Oh, killed this team already," so over by himself. So he's getting a lot better too. You know, he's fun dude to be around. I love him.
Jake Laravia. We got to humble Jake a little bit. Where do you put this on? Where do you put him at in terms of your teammates?
I was gonna put him. It's either 4 or 2, and the only reason I say 4 or 2 because I think he might be better than Trey, but I think Reek is number 2. So it's kind of tough. I could tie him and Trey, together there, but I'll let them two battle it out.
Now, I will say, I think you're number 1. All right. I think everyone would agree with that. And I know you're a humble guy. You probably don't put you number 1, but we're just going to put you number 1. All right. I don't think Jay Hank plays, right? So Jared's probably towards the bottom.
So. He plays 2K, so he's committed. He's committed to basketball all the time with that. So.
Good for Jared, but he's down towards the rankings because he doesn't play. Jared, if you actually want to be like higher up and receive votes, play the game. Play the game, man. Juju Julian, where's he at in this?
Pro skills. You might have to tell me on that one because I've only played with him once or twice. He is a great communicator though, and he's always carrying them heels. So
I can add in if he's playing some music, it's kind of hard to hear footsteps. Generally he's kind of there with Trey. He's communicative. Sometimes a little bit over too much, Juju, which that's no surprise. Some may be surprised. Tyreek Key, very communicative when it comes to Call of Duty. You mentioned he's up there. He's up there.
He definitely is communicative when he's playing Call of Duty. He's one of the funniest guys I've ever been around. And we just kind of recently just started picking up playing Call of Duty together, and it's been a lot of fun. We've actually got quite a few dubs too, so it's been a lot of fun.
I will tell you, Sycamore fans, we got to find a way to stream Tyreek Key live during a Call of Duty game because that is an experience unlike any other.
I got a feeling that'd go viral. That'd go viral.
Oh, there's no question. It would go viral. Sam Mervis.
I played with him a couple times too. We actually got a couple dubs. We started playing when he first got here. We would play like trios and everything like that. We get a couple dubs, but he's the dude who's I think carries one gun and like 4 different heals for the team. So he's a team guy.
That's a good way to describe him. Tobias, TJ.
I haven't played with him yet. He said he's on there, but I know he's getting in the gym and doing everything he can too. So,
yeah. Well, I can't add any expertise with their Tobias either. So I've only heard things, but I would say
that's what I said. I've heard he's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll take it a step further. Tobias, I've heard you're middle tier. You may even be lower tier. So if you want to prove that wrong, Tobias, just try to do something about it. I know he goes by C-Bands, but Kobe Barnes.
Oh yeah, Kobe's nice. Kobe's nice. He knows he's nice at it too. He just kind of acts like he's not nice at games.
Yeah. Nongo? Does Nongo play? I don't even know.
I don't think so. I don't think Nongo plays.
Nongo now's Nongo at the bottom. So Nongo, you're not playing right now, man. So you're down there towards the bottom. Yes, Sirski, my solid brother, as Nongo would say, right? So
we'll say that.
We'll have to get him on there. We're here towards the bottom. We got 3 more. Keon. I know he's too busy on TikTok. Does he ever dabble in the games?
No, he does dabble in the games, and there was some early talk at the beginning of the season that he could beat me in a 1v1 match, and I tried getting it set up, and just a friendly little game, and I haven't heard or seen anything from him since that. So
Keon, play the man. All right, you got to play Cooper. That would be something else. Not that probably compliance reasons can't mention money, but whatever I would put on Cooper knees. So sorry, Joel, that's something I shouldn't say. Last two, Randy Miller Jr. and Nick Hittle. Where do you put these two guys?
I heard Nick was actually really, really good at Call of Duty, so I'm pretty sure he'd probably be better than me at Call of Duty. Man, Randy goes back, he was going back and forth quite a while there, playing both games, and he's a lot better at Call of Duty than he is Fortnite, but he's not bad at Fortnite either.
All right. Well, there you have it. That's Coop's analysis on all of his teammates when it comes to Fortnite and Call of Duty. We'll see what we can do the rest of the year. But Coop, it's obviously been so much fun to watch you here and see you progress, and me being able to be here really every day since you've been here on campus. And let's keep this thing rolling, man, and let's get a win tomorrow against St. Louis.
Absolutely. That's the goal. Thank you, Luke.
All righty, Coach. Coop was talking about his gaming skills in his interview. I'm sure for you, back when you were in Vermilion, South Dakota, that's all you did, right? I mean, what was the gaming system when you were in Vermilion for college?
I think, and when I was a kid, we got Nintendo.
Okay.
And I know I wore those controls out when I was a kid and home, and even it was younger. It's not so much when I was in high school, but a little bit younger than that. And then when I was in college, the video games weren't the big thing then, and this is a long time ago, I'm sorry to say, but it's been funny. We've had it when I was at Iowa here. You have those things for the guys to do in locker rooms. And I walk in there, I think we've talked about it before. They're watching TV of somebody playing a video game. I mean, what? They're doing, oh, he's so good at it. I don't understand that. But yeah, these guys play a lot of that stuff, and they need time to do that, especially in a time like this where they're spending a lot of time in their room, whether it be Netflix or playing video games. And I guess they can play even in separate locations against each other. So word has it, Coop's pretty good. And I'd rather have them all spend more time in the gym, but they need some time away from it too.
I know COVID and the pandemic has people picking up new trades and tricks and skills. I'm guessing the current video game modules you are not on still. You're still old fashioned and haven't hopped on any of the Call of Duty or Fortnite trade recently.
I couldn't tell you what it is. I know I've heard of Call of Duty and Fortnite, and I know I've seen some commercials that looks pretty violent. So I don't know why we're doing all this kind of stuff. But yeah, I have enough trouble. As you know, with my TV, with my cell phone, and the computer. So I try to learn a little bit more of that instead of video games.
Coach, as we kind of move forward here before we get to St. Louis, there's a lot of conversation going on nationally, about the season, about whether a pause should take place. Obviously, a very scary incident over the weekend with a Florida Gator going down in his game, which actually one of your players, Baekho, very, very close to him. And you talked about the holidays, of course, coming up. It's not abnormal. We were in Hawaii a couple of years ago at Christmas and other things going on. I mean, it is part of being a college basketball player. But when you hear those conversations kind of going on right now, Coach, what's your takeaway? Where are you at? Because I know you're a guy that's really plugged in terms of the national talk.
Yeah, for one, Cam was awfully worried, when we were on our trip, and that's a good friend of his, and we keep him in our thoughts and prayers, and we know that he's stable, but he's still, in critical condition. And then for somebody like AJ Green, I've known his dad since I was in college, and same with Ben Jacobson, the head coach there. And that's a tough, very, very talented basketball player with an NBA future ahead. And you have all kinds of things like that happening. And with the landscape, UNI shutting down their last two non-conference games because they only have like 5 or 6 guys, scholarship guys available. The things that Coach K was talking about with the mental health, and this is a time where everybody needs to be able to get home for Christmas. It's basketball is my life, and other than family, it's something to where my and our staff's job is to take care of these guys first and foremost. When we recruit them, we tell the family we want them to be able to lay their head down at night and know that they're in good hands. So we're being very positive about of everything we do here, but we also in the understanding the communication in all aspects has to be very, very important because it is not easy. The things that they're having to do, and I know we talk about it a lot, and I'm not giving them excuses, but they've got some they could use. They're handling things very well, but this is going to be ongoing. Could be something different tomorrow or the next day. You never know with COVID or mental health with what you're dealing with. I know this with all the teams that got their seasons taken away, the coaches, we are still able to do it, play the game we love. I'm able to do my job and represent Indiana State. And then we're gonna talk about it in every pregame that we're representing all those student athletes at Indiana State that got something taken away from them, and play with in our hearts the thoughts of people that have lost loved ones or their jobs or their business as well.
You know, you brought it up, just what it means to be able to do your job and that opportunity when others have it within here on campus. From your guys getting ready for the year, of course, right, getting ready to go to Florida and have to pull out, and then ultimately being able to play. What's the difference you've seen in your guys in terms, Coach, of now they've been able to play and to know that they're getting rewarded for everything they've had to go through, just in terms of their mental and what that side of it is in terms of the ability being able to play and actually now getting back in the competition, despite it, of course, being very different?
It just seemed like such a long time, and then when we had to pull out of the Florida tournament, it was like you're looking ahead, geez, when are we going to be able to play? When are we going to play somebody else? And then being shut down, it took so long. But and you can expect to play the way we played against Truman. But then the switch kind of goes on, and you get competing, and you get playing against somebody else. Even though it's only our second game, I thought our guys flipped the switch to where, like, hey, let's go. We're going to go after these guys. We want to compete and we want to win. So that's what you rally around. You rally around your teammates and the opportunity to be able to compete.
Let's look towards St. Louis tomorrow night. Another really big challenge. I know folks here in our state, of course, see Purdue. They see the name and they go, man, of course, it's going to be a challenge going to Mackey Arena, whether it's during a pandemic or not. But this St. Louis team is probably a tick better than Purdue. And that's no disrespect at all to Coach Painter's team and what he has this year. It's a St. Louis team that's unbeaten at this point. They're averaging 90-plus points a game. When you've watched them on film, how good do you think this St. Louis team is?
Really good. And they're picked to win the A10. That's a league Dayton's in, and we all know about Dayton and what they did last year. The team is picked to win it. I think they're number 2 in the mid-major polls right behind Gonzaga. So they're really good. Everybody knows it. Maybe some casual basketball fans are like, well, St. Louis, is that good? They're really, really good. There's a couple guys on there I'm very familiar with from recruiting them when they were in high school. And they're just a very good, well-coached basketball team. Play hard, play tough, play physical. The kind of way you want your teams to play, and they're going to play fast. They are going to play physical, and then they're going to watch our previous 2 games and try to expose us maybe a little bit in the interior and do some things. But there's it's an opportunity for us to go on a road, head down to St. Louis, where we'll be heading at the end of the year. So we're excited. I know JB is going to stop by and say hi to us tonight in the hotel. Be awesome to see him. Just another great venue against a very talented basketball team, and we'll be excited to get down there and go after them.
There may not be a Travion Williams in terms of the size and the impact that he had for Purdue, for St. Louis, but how key is going to be boxing out and controlling the boards with this team, because as K. Rich mentioned to the guys yesterday, this is a group that is very, very active on the boards and very, very good at rebounding and how that really makes them go and tick.
Yeah, I mean, they're very good at the end of the start of the possession with their transition. They're as you said, they're averaging 92 points a game, so that's going to be huge. And then finishing a possession with the rebound. They're outstanding at it. They all go flying to the glass. They'll send 3 and 4 guys to the offensive board. So that'll be the key to the basketball game, us being able to try to match their physicality, guards as well as interior guys. and then being able to take away their transition baskets.
Coach, the last point I really want to hit on before we close out the show, is, of course, traveling is a little bit different this year. I wanted to bring up, I know our good mutual friend, Brian Fritz, it's weird going to a game and not seeing Fritzy and Rin calling a game on the road. It's weird that, even for someone like myself that could normally be on the bus there with you and you're the team, but due to COVID protocols, have to travel different, have to drive separately from the group. It's a challenge this year for a lot of plethora of reasons, because it's just unique and different, and not being able to see people we normally see and travel the way we normally travel. And it's just part of the time that we're in right now.
Yeah, and I miss Fritzy. Fritzy and I have been together a long time, and I think he's as good as it gets at his job, and I love listening to him call baseball and football games as well. And hopefully this is just a blip on the radar, and he takes a little break this year. And obviously Matt's one of the best to ever play here, and I miss being able to, the night before, where we all kind of gather and talk about how we're doing this and that against an opponent. Matt's so smart, and his basketball IQ, it's always good to hear what he has to say. But it is different. We're on a bus. I think we get a charter flight to Northern Iowa and Missouri State, but the rest of them are going to be bus rides. And to have social distancing on a bus, we're going to have to take another van and possibly my vehicle. Like you guys have to drive separate. It's just the way you have to do it now. And I learned as growing up that with my dad, the head coach is always on the bus. But for our guys to be able to be spaced, we have a couple in my vehicle. So it's nothing ideal. It's nothing ideal. Those times that I always say, and you've heard me say it, is there's nothing like going on the road with your team. It was a little different now, because all you get to congregate, you get to hang out, you get to goof around a little bit more with each other, and you can't do that quite as much. But we're just going to keep plugging away and being positive every day and thankful every day.
No question. We're definitely thinking of everybody impacted by this, and it will just be temporary. There's no question about that once we get through.
Vaccines are coming.
Yes, vaccines are coming, and just continue to stay safe, everybody, and then we'll all get through this. Coach, appreciate the time, and good luck against St. Louis. Let's get another win here on the road.
I appreciate that. And shop and eat local. Let's go meet at 7th and Elm and make sure you guys are taking care of our local friends and business people.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, it's time for the women's portion of the Indiana State Coaches Show, delivered to you by 7th and Elm Bar and Grill. Welcome back to the Indiana State Coaches Show, delivered to you, as always, by 7th and Elm Bar and Grill. It's great to be joined by head coach Vicki Hall. Her team, fresh off 3 straight wins. By the time you're watching this, she'll be in action against Xavier, which is a good thing. Another game added to the schedule with some postponements. But, Coach, number one, congratulations on this ride. I know it's got to make everybody just with an extra pep in their step, especially when you won 3 in a row, and the way you've really won 3 in a row.
Well, I'm really proud of this group. They really want to do well. And we tried to schedule to help us with some success early because we needed that, especially following the season that we had and how tough the Valley is. But you got to give our kids a lot of credit because they're doing the things we're asking them to do. They're getting into the gym. They're getting extra shots up. They're coming, with more focus than they did last year. They understand what focus is and means. Now we still, we're still very, 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 very young, but they're starting to understand what it's going to take. And so they're buying into that more.
You mentioned just your group really loves being around one another. And you knew that even before this stretch, that this was a group that, of course, went through some growing pains last year, but now starting to see really that kind of that growth even take more steps in terms of getting wins. Where do you feel right now your group is at in terms of that progression? Yes, you got 3 wins in a row. You've stacked 3 in a row. That's a great step. But where right now do you feel you're at in terms of that rebuild with your program and your group now?
We still have a ways to go. We still have a long ways to go. But what's good is you can see the growth, and we started to really see it a lot by the end of last season. when in those last 5-game stretch where we won one, but we didn't, and we beat Evansville too. So there was 2, but the teams that we were playing against, we were really competing with them where you could see like we're in the game and you could see that we were starting to understand some stuff. Now this year we get that we're understanding more and now we're able to execute a little bit better. We really still need to work a lot defensively. We're not exactly getting to the places we need to get to, and but we're able to score the ball a little bit better, and that's why we're winning in these games, is because we're scoring better. But when we hit the Valley, who's got a lot of really good teams, you've got to be able to play both.
One of the biggest things we talked about, it was after the Murray State win, was how your team responded in that game, specifically with the Racers. And you brought up last year, it wasn't like, yes, there were some difficult losses, but there were a lot of games you were in and had a chance to win. There were games where you got off the good starts, but when the opponent would counterpunch, sometimes it was hard for your team to counterpunch. Well, focusing on that Murray State game first, as we kind of recap those 2 wins, you came out right away and you punched right away. You set the tone, but then they came back, but then your team was ultimately able to counterpunch and really retake control. As you told me the following day before Western Illinois, that probably made that win even a little bit sweeter, knowing that your team had some adversity after you got off to such a quick start.
Yeah, and we have to learn how to play with the lead. Like we don't know. We didn't have that last year. So now we're having to learn how to do that. We need to learn how to play end of clock a lot better than what we are. We need to just be able to execute offensively better. And then, of course, our press break and stuff like that, we've worked a lot on, because Xavier is going to give us some of these things that we're going to have to fight against. So now we've gone through, 3 good opponents, and now the level is going to go higher. Obviously, you're going to the Big East. We've got 2 Big East games left. And so I'm interested to see, how we'll fare against them in their arenas.
Summer Pitzer, we talked about her the last show, and one of the things you said, you always talk to her saying, hey, I want you to shoot more. I trust your ability. You have that capability. Of course, hit a really big shot late in that Murray State game and then got some stops there, of course, later on down the road. In terms of Summer's progression, where do you like her offensive game so much? And why is she somebody that you go, I want you to shoot more? What is it about her game that you really like so much and want her to maybe take a little bit more control of at times?
Well, Summer just has the ability to score. I mean, she has a beautiful shot. She handles the ball really well. She understands situations well. And so that's somebody you really want to trust with the ball. Last year, she was so unselfish that she would look to get everybody involved. And we struggled so hard to score, so much to score, that I was like, come on, I need you to shoot it. And this year, I want us to be able to have 5 people out on the court that are 5 legitimate threats, and we didn't have that last year.
And then you turned the table, when you went to Western Illinois on Monday night, or had Western Illinois, I should say, come into Holman Center. One of the things you told your team was, look, yes, it's their 3rd game in 3 days. Yes, they're off to a tough start, but they can shoot it well. They're from a really good league with some respected teams in their league, in the Summit League. And it seemed like, Coach Hall, your team took them more than seriously, because right from the get-go, that was another game you set the tone. But really for Western, they didn't have much of a punch in that game to come back because of the way your team really played in that game.
Right. Well, that was our 2nd game in 3 days too. It wasn't 3-3, but it was 2-3. So it wasn't, a walk in the park for us. But at the same time, it's Western Illinois is a lot like some of the teams we'll face in our league. The 4-out, the great ball movement, the good 3-point ability. So I really wanted us to see what we could do with them. And I was proud of the fact that, that they played hard the whole time. And Western Illinois is a good program. I mean, they didn't quit the whole time. It didn't matter if they're down, a certain amount, they're going to play hard.
One of the things that was the difference in the game, last year when you went to Macomb, like we talked about before the game too, fouling and free throws were a big part of that game last year. Obviously, a different story this past year. Again, that's part of where you want to see you grow defensively. Kind of give the fans a little bit what you told me before the game on Monday night of what you really preach with your ladies and your team before each game, your defensive principles, and what you really try to strike with them. And those main areas, regardless of who you play, those are the areas you really focus on and look on to really see what kind of defensive effort you're going to get from your girls.
Well, and we're still working mightily on our fouling because we love to just reach, and we've got to be disciplined. To be a great defensive team, you have to be disciplined. And we're still, it's hard to get the young ones sometimes to really sit down and do it for 30 seconds, and so that's what we're preaching to them is stay in it, do our fundamentals, close out, get to help, rotate, talk, do all these fundamentals, and then do it the entire 30 seconds or 28 seconds or whatever, and then finish it with a rebound. And that's where we're just not quite being able to finish yet. And when we start to play better teams like Xavier's and the Daytons of the world, and then everybody in our league, you have to finish plays.
I feel like, she was one of the players I brought up to you and what she added in the Murray State game because of the road she's been on. We'll get to Caitlin Anderson in a moment. She's going to be our spotlight player interview here on the show. But Maya Glanton, I think, has been a huge piece for you this year, even though I know she's got a lot of progression still to come because she missed all of last year, tearing her ACL. But that just for you as a coach, as I asked you on Monday too before the game, it just feels good to see somebody that's been on such a tough road, such a tough injury battle, to get back in there with you and be somebody that you can trust to put in there for a significant amount of minutes.
Well, Maya's a trooper. She listens. She's trying to do what we're telling her to do. And, she's got a big learning curve, that the rest of the team had last year to actually not only do film and talk about it, they actually had minutes to do it. Now she's finally getting her minutes to do it. And so she's having to learn on the fly like our kids did last year. But Maya is very springy. I mean, she gets up, she's strong, and she's very, very competitive. So she's going to really try to give you her best every time she's out there. She's not always knowing or doing the right thing, but at least she's giving the effort to try to get to the right position.
I never want to put you on the spot in terms of a question like this because Caitlin Anderson's coming up next year on the show because there's a lot of women in your program, Coach, who have made a ton of improvement. It really feels like Caitlin is at the top of that list, if not near the top of that list. Where have you seen her grow in terms of being able to capitalize off last year, the experience she gained? And yes, she had to battle through an injury too, which you reminded me of that I forgot about last year towards the beginning. I know kind of hampered some of that learning curve for her. But she seems like now, you look at her numbers. Obviously all of her numbers are up. All of her numbers are better and improved. But besides the numbers, just besides the stat sheet, where and why has Caitlin been able to really improve?
I think Caitlin, it was my whole team, but Caitlin too, that she's a part of that too. When you come from high school or you come from JUCO, you're one of the better ones. That's why you're going to D1. And then you're thinking that what you did going in to D1 is what you're going to have to do to be good at that level too. And for them to understand and Caitlin to understand, I'm going to have to spend a little more time, or I really need to work on this, and that, because I'm not getting what I used to get at the high school level. And I think she started to see the things like, being able to hit a pull up or a three consistently, being able to handle pressure with your ball handle, getting better on your passing. She bought into that, yeah, I really do need to get better at these things. And she actually is spending the time, and she'll go, just for instance, we had 2 days off the other day for finals. and she didn't get into the gym, which, I mean, they're off, they can do whatever they want, but our first day back was not great. Coach Hall wasn't very happy. And she mentioned to one of our assistants saying, maybe I should have just gotten in and shot a little bit. I wouldn't have been so lax, my body would have responded better. And these are the things that our young players are starting to just learn about themselves they didn't know. And so that's where I think it's just helping in general, Caitlin Anderson and our whole team.
We'll take a break here on the show. When we come back, it'll be Caitlin Anderson time here on the 7th and Elm Coaches Show, and then we'll wrap things up with head coach Vicki Hall. You're listening and watching the Indiana State Coaches Show, presented to you by and delivered by 7th and Elm Bar and Grill. Welcome back to the Indiana State Coaches Show, presented by 7th and Elm Bar and Grill. It's been a tremendous start for the Indiana State women's basketball program, and a big reason why winning 3 straight is the young lady who joins us now, and that's Caitlin Anderson, who had a lot of learning lessons a year ago, and now you can tell really being able to apply them this year. Caitlin, number one, thanks for joining us, and I know for you, congratulations on the start to the season. I'm sure it just has to feel good after starting off in your first game, a loss to Illinois, to rattle off 3 straight.
Yeah, it's definitely a confidence booster for our team. Like, we needed it just to, get our feet on the ground for the start of the season. So it's been really good for us.
What's been the biggest thing of getting your feet on the ground? After on and off, obvious reasons with the pandemic, how difficult has it been for you and the ladies to get your feet on the ground? Now it feels like you've gotten your feet on the ground, and all of you, not just yourself, are really building up a lot of confidence here early on in the season.
It was tough in the beginning, just coming back from the pandemic and things, but just being able to get in the gym, work out with our coaches, especially with skill development, and then working with our weight coach and everything, and just getting in the gym and going at it. That's really been the biggest part of the growth for everybody.
Preparing for your 2 home games, which I did on the Valley on ESPN, talking to Coach Hall, I asked her about you. I said, what's been the biggest difference you've seen from Caitlin a year ago to now? And one was comfortability with the system, you learning the system, being more familiar with it and what you need to do. But also, I kind of forgot that you were injured at the beginning of last season too. Take us through how difficult that was for you a year ago to learn everything. It's all new. And then you got to add in the rehab. You got to add in trying to just get back physically, let alone so many things I'm sure mentally were challenging you last year.
It was tough because we weren't able, it was tough for me because I wasn't able to be on the floor and actually do it. But once I came back and I learned everything, it was pretty easy. And it was still hard because it was really fast. But this year when I came back, it started getting easier because the game started to slow down.
Now, I think it's clear the game's starting to slow down for you. Other than that aspect, Caitlin, where do you feel more comfortable on the floor in your game, and maybe where you're most proud about in the work you put in this offseason, and now it's starting to show on the floor?
I think I'm just comfortable being the point, just being the leader and kind of just facilitating. But I'm more comfortable, especially with my jump shot. I really worked on that. So I think that's the biggest thing for me.
How would you describe yourself off the floor? We've had, of course, Summer on the show already. We've had Jamira J, who, of course, is as interesting as they come, as great to be around as they come in terms of a personality. I know in the conversations we've had, you're kind of that calm, cool, collected kind of person, but maybe when you're behind the curtain a little bit and the cameras aren't in your face, what do you enjoy doing, Caitlin? How would you describe Caitlin Anderson?
I just really like to chill, especially though it's kind of with my teammates, by myself a little bit. I don't know. I like to watch TV, just relax, after being in the gym all day and things like that. I just like to relax, for real.
Well, I'm sure you've had a lot of time to relax during COVID and the pandemic, and I know there's been a lot of struggles that everyone's been through during this time, Caitlin, but where has maybe the pandemic and COVID-19 helped you the most? Whether that's a basketball standpoint But really more what I'm wondering about is where has this maybe helped you personally and just you as a person?
Basketball wise, just it helped me get in the gym. Like I had like literally there's nothing to do at home because everything's closed. So just being able to like get out, get in the gym and like do like my own at home workouts and things like that. But then just like me as a person, it just kind of helped me like get closer to my family and things. Like I spend being at home with my mom and stuff. I spend a lot of time with her and my siblings, and then just it just helped me get closer to them.
As you got ready for this season, again, point production up, your assist to turnover ratio much improved. Even though I know all those things are great, but you also know there's areas where you want to improve in too. What's maybe been something that you've learned so far through the first 4 games, or now maybe you want to focus on a little bit more and what you're really trying to amp up in practice as you prepare for your obviously 2 games upcoming with Xavier on Monday night, later on tonight when this shows, and then Dayton.
Just being a 3-level scorer. I think that's like the most important. Everybody knows like I can drive mid range and things like that. Just being able to hit the 3 and just being more consistent with it.
Every win is big, Caitlin. So I don't want to like overstate it at all, but jumping back to the Murray State game, that was a game where right from the tip, you and the ladies just punched them in the mouth, but they did punch right back. I think back to last year at times. I know it was a struggle and there weren't a lot of wins, but there were games where you and the team came out and played well, but almost like when another team punched you back, sometimes you weren't able to counterpunch. This year, what did that Murray State game mean to you and the team, knowing that you got off to a great start, they were able to punch back, but more importantly, you were able to counterpunch and be able to retake control of the game and win it?
That game for us was like it was really important to us because last year we went to their place and they got us, and we just came in this game like with the mindset like we've grown, we know what we're supposed to do, and we just wanted to get out there and do it. So the fact that we could finish the game and get the win was really good for us.
And that was a nip and tuck game too a year ago, and you just were not able to finish that game in Murray. So be able to come back and win it. And I'm sure for you and this team to see your teammates even come up and shine in big moments. Adrian had a really good first half in that game with 11 points. And of course, I know Jamira was frustrated with foul trouble, but the majority of you were able to pick her up. What do you believe, Caitlin, is going to be the thing that holds this team together from a basketball standpoint in terms of, can really make this team special? What are the attributes that this team has that you think can really carry over to ultimately these next couple of games and get this thing rolling into conference?
I think everybody is able to score. Like all of us are able to score from wherever on the floor. So just knowing that if you're not having the best scoring game, you can always do something else because we have great rebounders, great people who can pass the ball. Like we all have something we can do, and I think that's like the best part about this team. Nobody is like lacking in anything.
Before I let you go, I got to ask you this question because you mentioned you're a big TV show watcher. You just like to chill, not really do much when you're outside of practice. So is there a show you're binge watching right now? Is there a show that you recommend to Indiana State fans that may have the same flavor and taste as you? Is there what kind of shows you watch? What are you watching right now?
Right now I'm rewatching my show on Hulu, This Is Us. And I just like watching like crime shows and things like that. So I binge watch Criminal Minds all the time, Law and Order, SVU. So all this.
Okay, there you go. Some little Law and Order action. That's a good one. Criminal Minds is a good one too. So I gotta tell you, I like Caitlin Anderson a little bit more. Learning more about her, that's for sure. Caitlin, number one, thanks so much for the time. Really appreciate it. And I know a lot of Sycamore fans feel this way too. After a lot of tough learning lessons a year ago for you in the group, it's great to see you flourish, but also understanding that the job is far from done. So keep this thing rolling, Caitlin.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Coach Caitlin Anderson says she's been binge watching a lot of shows on Netflix, Hulu. She's a big This Is Us fan. She likes Criminal Minds, Law and Order, shows like that. For you, what does Vicky Hall watch besides tape? We know you watch game film, and we know during the season you're very busy. I know there probably isn't a ton of time to binge watch shows, but do you have preferences? Do you have some shows that you enjoy watching whenever you find that free time?
Well, like especially during the summer and Corona hit, I really liked Madam Secretary. I liked The Good Fight, and then also really loved I like to go to sleep to something funny. Usually like Big Bang Theory, Friends, Will and Grace, something like that. Those are things that I watch. I also like SEAL Team, stuff like that. So, yeah.
You know, we all had some time during the summer, that's for sure, with coronavirus going around and getting some time to binge watch some of those shows. Well, I'm sure you've been able to binge watch some Xavier film. As we mentioned, you're in the midst of that game right now as this is playing. But what stands out about Xavier? What are going to be the biggest things they present for your group Monday night?
Xavier's athletic. They're athletic. They're aggressive. They're going to try to turn us over, and they want it to be a transition game. Which, I don't necessarily mind, but we've got to be able to defend better transition so we get more opportunities at easy baskets than they do. We also have to watch our fouling. I think we're going to get fouled quite a bit too, so we got to be able to hit our free throws and go into another facility and knock down shots.
What are ways and things you tried to do, Coach Hall, and understanding with the pandemic? And obviously there's different protocols you can do in terms of, obviously like big team gatherings and situations like that aren't necessarily what you can do right now. But what do you try to do as the leader of your team and your program, to check in on them, make sure they're doing okay, make them feel part of something? Because as you do get around the holidays, you do get around this time, look, your team's just not been on campus for the last 3 weeks. They've really been on campus since the summer. It's been a long process. It's been a lot of time. I know they're excited to play these games, but it has, as you mentioned, it's been really hard on everybody involved.
You got to keep it fun. You got to keep it fun, and even when it's hard, to keep it fun. The other thing is just, even when it was warmer, I would have cookouts at my house, but outside. So everybody was 6 feet apart and doing their things. We're going to do some things like that for the holiday, so we can watch movies together, but far away, and enjoy meals, maybe do like a murder mystery thing. I've also just been really trying to talk to them more and just have us all interact more, I'd have lunch with them and we just sit outside 6 feet apart, but be able to at least just share a meal. And then just trying to have as much fun as we can, and that's hard because what can you really do? But just, I think the main fact is when Corona hit, we spent a lot of time virtually together and understanding that we all really do care about each other and that we're in it together. And I think that just, it helps us a lot. It helps me too. Cause it's hard for me too. I don't get to see my family. So we're all in the same boat. We got to be our own family.
Coach Hall, I know I sent this out on social media, and I know you've been obviously getting a lot of messages like this. And, of course, first couple of years, I know there's been a lot of tough learning lessons. I know there's been a lot of learning curves for your group, and it's been a lot of fun to really watch your group this year and see them improve, see the improvement, and not just see it in terms of the games, but actually see it in start of results and start seeing those results coming in. And good luck against Xavier. I know this game is in progress right now, and we're watching it as this is going out too. But congratulations on such a great start, and just keep this thing rolling because your group is really fun to be around. And I know I've really had a great time and being able to talk to them throughout this year, even though it's obviously been under different circumstances.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate everybody. I appreciate Seventh and Elm, all the businesses and people and administration, everybody that's trying to support us and trying to keep us afloat. We appreciate it. Thank you.
No question. Again, you can catch that game right now for the Sycamores against the Xavier Musketeers. But that's going to do it for the 7th and Elm Coaches Show, delivered to you by our friends at 7th and Elm. For head coach Vicky Hall, I am Luke Martin saying so long. Have a good night, everybody, and go Sycamores.